Hey everybody, welcome back to Space Engineer Survival. This is the bonus episode to the 2021 series that we just ended a couple days ago. Oh, of course we've got Reavers on here. Well, it doesn't matter, this is a bonus episode. We're gonna go into creative mode because we're not doing any survival related things. This is the bonus episode where we're gonna find out what happened to our relay tower. We're going to compare this ship. Of course, it's going to get into a little bit of a battle. We're going to compare this ship to the Big Red, which is the first survival ship that I ever built, the first large grid ship that I ever built, I should say. And then we're going to talk about some things that we could have done, and we're going to explore some of our other bases that we built in this series. So I'm going to let this ship continue to fly, and we're going to go back to Triton, where it all started. And here we are. This is the base that we left behind, where our giant ship once was. Now it's over. Where is it? It's over there somewhere. I don't know. It's going toward those planets, like up there, way in the skies. But anyway, we're back to Triton. Let's do our first thing of this bonus episode. Something I was really curious about is when we took off originally from this base in the last episode, we noticed that we only had one relay station here. We have south antenna relay and we have west antenna relay, which was very interesting because we originally built three. So where did it go? That's the real question. So we have south, right, which is over here. We have west, which is over there. Where's the other one? Because we have an east one as well. I'm gonna go try and find it. I'm really curious. We're gonna fly out there. I know it's about 10 kilometers away. So if I fly out this way, because I remember about where we drove, we should be able to find it. So give me a second. I'm gonna take a look and see if we can find this thing anywhere over here. And as we're flying over here, I actually do see it in the distance right there, sticking out above this tower. Why can I not see you? Is the real question. Let's go ahead and stop. Oh, because your antenna's gone. It had an antenna at the start, I think. Let me check. We could build up here, right? Yeah, we placed the antenna up here for sure. And then it must have gotten destroyed by a Reaver or something as it flew by. So I guess this is what happened to our east antenna relay. It got smited by a Reaver. Well, sort of. Actually, this is really interesting because there's no damage to anything else, right? I don't see any damage to this stuff, any damage to this stuff. So it couldn't have been a Reaver because they would have hit everything. And if it was a lightning strike, it probably would have done some supplemental damage to here. So did we not just... we must have put an antenna there. What happened to it? So I guess the mystery really does continue about what happened to this antenna relay, because we certainly didn't do anything to it. But these things held up quite well. I really liked these things. What did we paint this? Did we paint this silver? I think we painted these with silver armor. That was an interesting choice for sure, but okay. Anyway, mystery solved, I guess. Well, mystery solved and other mystery added, because we have no clue what happened to the antenna itself. But let's get back to base, because what I wanted to do is do a comparison between the ship that we just built, which is the AMG Sandstorm that we named in the last episode, and Big Red, which is the first ever survival ship that I built in season 1, way back in like 2018 or something. So let's actually compare those. I want to put them down right about here, and I should have them both blueprinted somewhere. So let me get the AMG Sandstorm. Okay, and this is the ship that you guys all know and love. Let's go ahead and plop that down right here. Thing is, I don't know if it's actually going to have its thrusters on. We made sure to turn the thrusters on, then blueprint it, but okay, it is doing fine. Nice. The only problem is it's going forward because it's having a little trouble holding itself up. So it might crash into the ground there. Go ahead and stop it. There we go. It's now locked. Perfect. So that's AMG Sandstorm. That's the one you guys have seen for ages. Let's get the Big Red in here, which a lot of you might not have actually seen. Because Big Red was so long ago that I don't know. This is Big Red. We have Big Red end of season 1 and end of season 2. We're gonna look at the end of season 1 one. Pasted ship contains some blocks that are not available in this world. These blocks will not be pasted. Right, because we use Colt Command Pack. I think that's the one that's gonna have a little bit of trouble. This is Big Red, the original right here. Oh gosh, they're about the same size. Honestly, I thought Big Red was a lot smaller than it is. Let's go ahead and put this guy right there, and it might fall. Yeah, because its thrusters are off. And let's take a look. Okay, so size comparison, they're about the same length, almost exactly the same length, which is impressive. Big Red is even wider. So you know what? Big Red's actually larger than this ship, which I find really hard to believe. I think the space usage of the AMG Sandstorm here is just a lot more efficient because we have like 3 decks to the AMG Sandstorm. There's the bottom deck, there's the middle deck, and there's the top. Whereas this guy right here, the Big Red, has, I believe, only 2. We just use, look, this is a 3-block tall ceiling right here, so maybe that's where all of our space goes. But anyway, just for a quick tour of Big Red, we have a similar design element right here with the roof. So that is one similarity, and in fact we have some similarities as well with the engine room, where it's containing a lot of these O2H2 generators and hydrogen tanks. We have a very similar thing back there. We also have a hangar on both ships, so that's kind of cool that we stuck to our guns there. We really like hangars. The cockpit on Big Red is just kind of the entire front of the ship. So I definitely like how we did it on that one a little bit better, having the split cockpit where one is the cockpit, the other is kind of a recreation room. We could very easily do the same thing to this ship if we had just a wall in the middle like that. Big Red going down, we go to our bottom floor, which again is very tall. It's many blocks tall here. The space usage is not very efficient for sure. Going this way, there's not much over here. There's assembler and a one of those things, a couple batteries, and then up here we have the whatchamacallits, the cargo room. And of course, I'm discovering this myself as well because I haven't set foot in this ship in a very long time. And in fact, we do actually have a bottom deck here. We have 3 decks. Okay, I forgot about this. Now keep in mind, this ship was built before a lot of the nice blocks that we use in the AMG Sandstorm existed. So all those hydrogen tanks did not exist. There were hydrogen tanks, but they weren't nice like that. In fact, even the skins that we ended up using, the clean skin and the camo skins here, didn't exist at the time we built this ship over here. So yeah, we're using very basic coloring on this ship. Looking at firepower on Big Red, we have 2 weapons right there, as well as 4 up there, very lazily placed. And I don't think we have any more. I don't think there are any on the bottom. Just looking around. Yeah, we didn't put any weapons on the bottom. So it's got the same vulnerability that the AMG Sandstorm has with things that attack from the bottom. Of course, we added these, but they don't have any ammo, which was a bit of a blunder on our part. Although I'd say these side weapons can deal a little bit of damage on things that are slightly toward the bottom, where Big Red is very, very vulnerable from the bottom. So yeah, I think the AMG Sandstorm definitely wins weapon-wise. But of course, keep in mind that at the time Big Red was built, we didn't have custom turrets that we could build, and we also didn't have those nice turrets on the top right there. So yeah, it definitely shows its age here. But yeah, looking at the 2 ships, I am kind of impressed to find that they're about the same size. And, you know, they probably took around the same amount of time to build, or the same amount of effort to build, I'd say. Big Red here took an entire first season of Space Engineers, whereas this guy took about 10 episodes of work. Aesthetic-wise, I think I probably do like the AMG Sandstorm a lot better. Big Red's a bit chonky, I will say. It definitely is a bit chonky, whereas AMG Sandstorm is a lot more sleek, and it's got a lot more windows on top, and the color scheme is a little bit milder, which I like. So yeah, all in all, I think that's a kind of cool comparison to see. So one thing I really wanted to do in this bonus episode as well is take a look at some of the bases that we have. We can use spectator camera and just teleport ourselves around. I guess we'll start with the normal base here. This base, I always imagined it from the start of the series to be a little bit nicer. We never got around to making it look a little bit nicer, but I imagined it being a little bit taller and having some, you know, living space up here or something like that. I think it turned out pretty well though, all in all. It's definitely function over form. But you know, this stuff kind of lasted us the entire series here. These refineries that we built, these assemblers, etc. And then the whole sorting system that we had for ores to go in there, get refined, turn into ingots, and then go into the assembler. That whole system kind of worked pretty well. So I think this base did its job. Now, of course, the hangar, we had 2 iterations of the hangar. The first one got pretty much completely destroyed when a Reaver attacked us and landed on it. This is the second iteration of the hangar, which I do like a lot better with the elevator and the increased space. We never did really use up some of this increased space, so maybe that's something that would have been cool to add more ships in the future. These things served us really well. They got pretty much destroyed by Reavers, but most of our power is actually coming from here. We did build the Dune power bank to deal with most of our power, and then we eventually built the automated flyer, but that was very quickly destroyed, and this thing remained our main power source for pretty much the entire series, I should say. Yeah, it's really cool seeing things that started, you know, almost 3 years ago and were built here, just still standing and kind of doing their intended job. I think that's kind of cool. Of course, the path that goes to those things, we have a little access tunnel here. I had always intended to kind of make this look a little bit nicer instead of just being a couple blocks like that, to be like an actual tunnel, which would be kind of interesting. I think we did something similar actually at the Dune power bank. Honk the Tonk survived. That was cool. Honk the Tonk is probably one of my favorite builds from the entire series. It had a saga, I'd say. It had an arc. Kind of around the time it was built, we went around destroying little bases with it, which I think was kind of cool. That was very fun. And of course, the truck here probably deserves its place in a museum at this point. Moving up to the fort, I'd say the fort is one of the things that had a lot of improvement, or a lot of, not even improvement, but a lot of renovation done to it throughout the series. We initially started with just a small fort and a lighthouse right here, and then we built the pasta silo. I forget what pasta stands for. Pertam Aeronautical Space something administration. I don't know, something like that. Someone in the comments came up with it, and it was a really good suggestion. But yeah, then we eventually did away with the lighthouse, or I should say the Reavers did away with the lighthouse, and we replaced it with this thing. We had always intended to rebuild the lighthouse maybe over there or something, and we never got around to it. We're gonna have a Reaver attack here, so you guys will get to see the base in action. One other thing that I had intended to do is add some sort of lid to this thing, and I never got around to it. You guys were calling it the waffle iron based on someone else's series that they did. I think they had something that they called the waffle iron like that. We never got around to that, but that would have been interesting. You'll find there's a lot of things in this series that we never got around to because we went on to other things, or we ran out of time, or something like that. All those ideas are things that would be cool for a future series. There they go, fighting, firing at that. I wonder if those ships will actually engage. They might. I don't know. Yeah, they are. Look at that. The raw firepower. In fact, we have Big Red fighting too, which I think is kind of cool. The combined firepower of Big Red and AMG Sandstorm right there. The Dune power bank, of course, is one of the most interesting parts of the series as well, in my opinion, where we decided to just go crazy because we kept running into power problems, and we figured, you know what, let's just go crazy and fix all of our power problems. The problem with this is that it requires someone to drive a truck back and forth, or an AI flyer to come back and forth to grab the power, and then you have the inefficiency of batteries. All in all, it's a really cool idea that I think would work if we had, like, you know, if I could tell this truck to drive back and forth without me, I think that would be amazing and make this idea totally worth it. In the end, we got a really cool structure out of it, which I think is cool. It's kind of an iconic little array of solar panels that I find really awesome. These ones, I believe, are connected underground. If I go through here, where the truck is, I should be able to come through here and then go to this main base, and I think that goes underground. And then I forget if we added tunnels or not, like proper things. Those scripts are kind of cool. Oh, I forgot about this. We added a map. Yeah, I went into Photoshop and made a little map of this so that I could map out where all of our solar panels are, and then compare them to this. So Tower A, for instance, we can look and see A is the center one. D right there is the south one. And, you know, DR, for instance, is the south one to the right. From its perspective looking out. So yeah, I think I have the UR here. I really like that. I think that was a cool little touch. Let's go down into here. Yeah, so I guess I didn't ever make this look a little bit nicer. I had always intended to do that with you know, like a cool little maintenance shaft sort of thing. So that's another, you can jot that down under ideas that would have been cool that we ran out of time for, I think. Moving away from the Dune power bank, we have, of course, the museum, which was a pretty long-going build. I had intended for this to actually be a little bit nicer as well. The Reavers kept attacking it, which was not cool. But yeah, we got a couple things in here. We have this, which was our dropship from the space episodes. We have this, which was our original mining ship right there, built in a time when I didn't know if we could actually use thrusters on this planet because I didn't know if the gravity was going to be too strong. Of course, we eventually figured out that it's totally fine. This was, I believe, the drop pod turned into a rover, so that's kind of cool. If I go into it, I might even see. Oh, I called it first rover. Yeah, I believe this was a drop pod though. Just converted into the rover. Then we have our first trailer, which didn't pan out. Of course, we got another Reaver here. Before the series ended, I wanted it to be really cinematic when I took off. I had this whole idea of a Reaver attacking us and it being too strong and kind of overloading the base a little bit, and then us taking off just at the last second or something right there. That was my idea. What ended up happening is we took off without the Reaver, and we actually ended up fighting, I believe it was the Reaver boss as we left, which was not planned, by the way. I did not expect that to happen. The Reaver boss just sort of showed up, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Of course, we didn't end up defeating it. We just kind of fought it and ran away, which I think is the best case scenario. Defeating it would have been nearly impossible with the weapons that we had. We didn't have too many. Although one thing I found really interesting is that when we deployed our ships, I didn't realize that the ships are only intended for Earth use. It's one thing that I had said earlier. The original idea was that I'd build two versions, one for planet side and one for space, using ion thrusters. And I eventually decided that, hey, we're not going to need ships in space. Let's just make the atmospheric ones, and that's what we did. And of course, that didn't end very well. Our ships ended up being very useless in space. Although I think they did draw the fire of the of the dude. And any second now, that Reaver Berserker should be knocked out of the sky. Yep, there he goes. He's in pieces, and down he goes. Okay. Anyway, back to what we're looking at. The this guy right here was our first ship. I believe we downed this guy with like one shot or something like that using Honk the Tonk, which was kind of cool. Why are you? All right, AMG Sandstorm definitely has some beef with Big Red here. It is just gonna fire right through it. One of my favorite rooms, though, and this is, I don't mean this to be, of course, the Patreon room, but this is, I think, my favorite room aesthetic-wise. I think showing off the builds is really cool, and in future series, I think I'm gonna do something similar, where I show off either Patreon builds, builds of patrons, or just, builds of people, because I think it was really cool. In fact, I also really like when I go out here, the art that we did here. I think that's a really cool addition, showcasing some art. Someone made this, which I think was really amazing. This as well, that as well. And then of course this one right here. I think this was some really cool additions, showing the graffiti. Actually, I think the last thing that I forgot on Pertam is going to be the bunker, where I of course forgot to weld up these blocks. But the bunker's kind of cool. We added this double door system that we never ended up using seriously, but a double door system with an alert button that turns the lights red and closes both doors, which I think is really cool. I had a lot of fun coding that back in the day, but yeah, this was neat. I like the bunker idea, and if the Reavers were a little bit stronger and maybe destroyed the base ever, I think this would be a cool place to come back to. But you press the button again and it opens. This of course connects to the pasta silo, which is all the way back here. We never completed the connection, but yeah, it comes over here and you see the pasta silo. One thing that I'm sad that we never ended up doing is early in the series, we had all of our ores out here. So it was very common for us to drive all the way out here to find like gold, silver, or something like that. I had this idea of having like a refinery base all the way out here. And I thought that'd be really interesting, but we never got around to it. I even had the idea of maybe having a train that goes on rails and delivers ingots back to the base or something. That's definitely ideas for future series. So keep an eye out for that, or remind me of it if I'm asking for ideas at some point in the future. He is still firing. Can you believe that? He's just gonna shoot right through this guy. Look at this. Look at this. He's literally firing right through the ship. That's crazy. All right, anyway, let's blast off and go up here. I want to look at our space base. That's an interesting one. I had a lot of fun building this space base, like a lot more fun than I thought I would. I had never before this built a proper base in space, really, and this one I think turned out really well. We did a lot more than I thought about it, and if you watch the last episode toward the end, we did visit it and take a look at it, but I think this base looks really nice, and I really like the idea here. In fact, I'm very interested in doing perhaps another space base in the future for a survival series. I think it's a really cool idea, and if I add some mods or something to make it a little more interesting in space, I think that would be kind of interesting. I don't even know what we were thinking here. This is before Kanajashi showed me how to make turrets, by the way. So yeah, pre Kanajashi influence right here. Yeah, that is, yeah. Space base is one of the things in this series that I'll say probably turned out about as well as I could have hoped it would. It's just a really cool base. You know, the one thing we never got around to actually is the second half. The whole idea was we'd have two halves of the space base. This would be kind of the functional half, and this would be the recreational half, where it'd be kind of like a hotel, a casino, you know, like just a relaxation area. We had all these windows down here for that exact reason, and I think it would have been really cool if we could have set that up so that we could go into our first person, so that we could have this kind of room, because I really like this way that we get to the base. Going through this this kind of hatch here is really cool. So that's something we could have done, and maybe something we can come back and try and do in the future in another series or something like that. I think the only base we have not gone to now is the one over here on, was it the moon? Did we go to the moon, or did we go to another planet? I guess we went to the moon. We never really did visit those planets, did we? Let's go to the moon and check out our other base that's over here. So I'm not expecting that I could just casually find it like this, but you know, there's always a chance, right? Aha, we found it. All it took was using the entity list, but we did eventually find it. All right, this is our base that we built on what moon was this called again? This isn't Europa, is it? It's either Europa or Triton. But anyway, this is the base we built, and I don't remember a lot about this base, although I really like the red right there that we used. So we had this was our tugboat with a lot of hydrogen thrusters. I believe we had another ship right here, like one that was kind of tall. I don't really remember. Is that what we took off to space? Remember? No, we took Rigatoni 1.5 because it was here, and we repaired it here. Ah, I remember. And we have the two rooms as well. I think this is a cool little base. This is a really cool little outpost. In fact, such a cool little outpost that I could see it, like, if I were building custom trader bases, this would be one that looks like a custom trader base, sort of. Because it's so, like, quaint. It's like a little tiny outpost just in the middle of the area. Is this? Oh, this must be the little button that we use to turn on the thing. I don't remember if I animated a little, or if I animated a little scene going up to space, but I had planned to. This was I remember. Okay, we made this into a refueling outpost, and the reason we did that, it's all coming back to me, was because we messed up the generation of the economy stations. So we built this little outpost so that some of them would move closer, and this would become a hub. Ah, that's why it looks like a little trading hub or something, because it's an outpost. Makes sense. Yeah, so we hit that button, and then when we hit that button, all the traders and stuff moved in, and we could go to a trading outpost and stuff, and it was cool and everything. I think that probably went about as well as it could have, getting all the trading outposts here. I will say it was really fun kind of doing survival on another planet. Ice planet's not one that I usually get to do, so in the future it'd be kind of cool to do another ice planet, and the view is just amazing, I'll say as well. Pertam and its moon both have very good views. Actually, I say its moon, but this is a custom world that I built for this series, so maybe this isn't Pertam's moon in normal. But anyway, yeah, I think the bases are pretty cool. But anyway, all in all, I think this series went pretty well. It went a bit long, probably, for my taste. 3 years is a little bit much. And in the future, I plan on doing 1 year series where we go for, you know, it'll be like Space Engineer Survival 2024. And we do survival for 2024. And then in 2025, we start a completely new series doing something else. I think that's a good way to keep it fresh and to keep it keeping up with the updates. Because, of course, you know, when I started this series in 2021, the game didn't have a lot of what they have now. All these block weapons here, the nice new one, the Warfare Gatling, the Assault Cannon Turret, Artillery, these didn't exist when I started the series. Automatons didn't exist. We didn't have a lot of these Warfare 1, Warfare 2 things. I think Warfare 1 came out kind of around when I was doing the series, actually. But yeah, so I think starting a series every year will keep it kind of fresh, keep it going, keep it nice. But anyway, yeah, I think I just wanted to do this bonus episode to kind of take a look at the series as a whole and kind of discuss, you know, my mindset around some of the things that we did in this series, some of the builds that we did, and take a look at what we had. But anyway, with that, I think we're gonna end this bonus episode. So thank you for hanging out, and you know, thank you everyone for supporting the series. I had a great time making these episodes, and I look forward to see what we do in the future. It's gonna be a fun year, 2024. But anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you all later.